Good day, everyone. My name is Charles, and welcome to today's show. With me here is Dr. Fred Adigun. Dr. Fred, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. I'm Frederick Adigo.
Okay, thank you for joining us once again. I just introduced you as Dr. Fred Adigun. So I'd like to confirm, are you a PhD holder or you're a medical doctor? How did you become a doctor?
Okay. By training, I'm a medical doctor.
Okay, you're a medical doctor by training.
Yes.
So I hope, can you share what you do currently?
Okay. Currently, I work in the IT space. I work in cybersecurity.
Okay, you work in the IT space and cybersecurity.
Yes.
So I take it that you transitioned from being a medical doctor to working in IT.
Yes. I transitioned from medicine to IT security to be
Okay,
precise.
okay. Thank you for clarifying that. So why, if you don't mind sharing, why did you transition?
Okay. A couple of reasons. One is that I felt medicine boxes the practice of medicine. It's sort of keep you in a silo, and you are not that you're not very aware of what's going on in the world, but you're a little bit separated from it. So I wanted relevance across sectors. I wanted essentially my practice to be across sectors. One. Another thing is during my house job, towards the latter part of my house job, that I made the decisions that I was going to transition along the line. I I looked at my day to day. I enjoyed I enjoyed treating people. I enjoyed the friendship I had with colleagues and such things, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to be doing that for the next 30, 35 years, coupled with some interviews of some old doctors I had seen. So I wasn't sure I wanted to be doing that every morning or waking up and doing that every morning for like the next 30, 35 years. So I felt it should not be something I would endure. I should enjoy it as much as I contribute to the society. So I made that decision.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So before you transition, what was your relationship with computers? Was it basic? Was it advanced?
Okay, if I take it back to my primary school days, it was basic. Early junior secondary school days, beyond computer as a subject, there was really nothing else to it. In fact, my relationship with it was essentially playing video games using a couple of Microsoft tools and Mavis Beacon. So not until my university days that I started, presentations and learning passively things about, maybe the specifications of a computer, why a certain computer can do something and another one cannot, different operating systems. Okay, I learned operating systems earlier, but you know, so not until the university days before my exposure got better. Then I have a younger brother who is a software developer. So that also helped. So they all culminated into the knowledge I started building on.
Okay, thank you. How did the people around you, especially family, react when they found out that you were about to transition into cybersecurity?
Well, I'm grateful that they did not oppose my decision because I had to say they were very supportive, and the success of my transition would depended heavily on them. So usually my family know that when I have my mind set on something, I go out to achieve it. So I don't think they were worried about whether I was going to achieve it. They were probably worried about the transition, about the fact that I'm leaving some years of medicine behind. But nobody really told me. My parents were supportive as long as it was what I decided to do and I was going to put in energy in it. They were supportive. Then my younger sibling, when I needed to be put through certain things, some things in Python, he was very supportive. And my other brother, he was of the opinion that as long as it is what I want, I should pursue it. So I have to say I'm grateful for family. As for friends, a lot of my friends are still surprised to date. Some of them not very much surprised because it's we third medical school together, and me making that decision that when I made it, it was something very unusual. It is still unusual, but they check in on me every now and then. You know.
So what was the hardest part of leaving medicine?
Okay. There are a couple of reasons why it was difficult to leave. But number one on that list is the fact that I'd invested a lot of years in the training, and in a way, it was something I already I was good at doing. So spent 7 years in medical school, additional 1 year for housemanship, you know. So all those, and it was already a part I was almost used to living, and the fact that I wasn't going to carry those years of experience into my new endeavor, that was a little difficult. Another thing was the fact that I was going into a new field without friends. So while I was in medical school, it was sometimes the the journey gets tough, of course, but you get solace in the fact that okay, you have friends, you have people. Maybe the guy next door is going through what you are going through, preparation for exams, the burden of work you have to do. But moving into the IT space, to the tech space, I really did not have someone that had walked the path I had walked, transitioned somewhat late. So it was difficult. There wasn't a lot of people to talk to. I had to draft my strategy myself. So those were very hard parts. Another part is the fact that I was mostly, to a very large extent, I was independent in my day to day in while I was in medicine, because I practiced for a little over 2 years, almost 3 years. So going into the IT space and making that transition, I had to learn the ropes. I had to be dependent in a lot of things. I had to ask a lot of questions. So felt like an imposter at the beginning, things like that. It's really made it very difficult.
How long did you sit with the idea before you eventually made the decision?
Okay. I had the idea for at least 8 9 months before I made the transition. So when I conceived the idea, I had some exams to write, some medical exams to leave the country. So at that point, I had already paid for the exam, so I had to pass the exam at the very least. So while I was preparing for the exam, I knew that okay, I was going to transition after. So I think I said about 8 months. I prepared for the exam maybe for about 3 months or so. Yeah. So thereafter, after the exams was when I now started making very active steps. Everything I did before the exam was trying to find out about the IT space, the tech space, which of the specialties. So it was until after the exam that I narrowed down on something that eventually changed. Initially, data analytics, but I still spoke to more people. I got a little bit more exposure about data protection before eventually narrowed down and I settled for cybersecurity.
Okay, okay, thank you. Was there any financial dip? If yes, how did you manage the financial dip during the period of the transition?
There was a significant financial dip because when I made the transition, I the first role I got was an intern role, and nobody's going to pay you for for the skills you do not have. So, pardon. So, I got a decent pay for an internship, but it was a significant dip from what I was used to. I had a little bit of savings, but it could not save me for long.
Hmm.
So, within a couple of months, I exhausted the savings. I had to depend on, or I had to lean on family for support. I leaned on family for support, which I'm grateful for them. They were very supportive in during the tough times. So it took quite a while for everything to catch up. But the financial dip was there.
Okay,
But thank God for family and friends.
but have you caught up now?
Well, I'll say I've caught up.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, there's light
Okay,
at the end
okay,
of the
that's
tunnel.
that's good to hear. I know you mentioned internship. What other things did you do to transition? Did you attend boot camps? Did you self study?
Yes, boot camps, self study. So let me start from boot camp. A boot camp was my first exposure to cyber security. It was a cloud security boot camp, which for an absolute beginner may not have been the perfect route, but for me, it was probably perfect for me. So I started the boot camp. in the early days of the boot camp, I discovered that I did not know cybersecurity basic, and I was layering something on top. So I registered I did some self-learning, registered for some course, cybersecurity course. It was fairly intensive, and I was doing that along with the boot camp. So I was expending a lot of energy in the early period. So that helped. So having gained the knowledge, the basics, then the boot camp started making sense. So yes, in cybersecurity or in tech space generally, there are a lot of you need to speak to people, which the boot camp covers. You need to get insight from people who have been in the field, and more importantly, or as importantly, self study. It is continuous. You have to do self study. There are a lot of things you have to learn from your own, or sometimes even from your own mistakes. So yes, self study, boot camps, and being out there, being on LinkedIn, see what people are talking about, see what matters, being on Twitter.
Okay. Okay. Also, what role do you think IT certification played in your transition?
Okay. So unlike most tech domains, cybersecurity has certifications that matter. They matter, but they are not everything. So in cybersecurity, skills are very important. But for someone that has not met you, sometimes to scale through the first say interview or first stage of shortlisting, sometimes your certifications can speak for you. So I wrote some certifications. They were not big certifications before I entered. There were some basic certifications, but I think they showed that I've at least validated some of the things I've learned. Yes. So I will agree that certifications are important. They are not more important than skill, but in they can matter or they can help to get to a stage where the skills will actually get evaluated.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, did any of your employers in IT, or maybe prospective employers, did they see your medical degree as an asset, a liability, or they just think it is negligible?
As much as far as I know, I think the what I know is it's consistent across all of them was they were fascinated. They wanted to understand my journey and they wanted to understand why.
Okay.
Then they wanted to see, or everybody I've known, all the prospective employers and employers alike, they wanted to know if I was willing to commit. I was willing to put in the effort if I had the drive. So beyond that, in terms of, I don't think they considered me an asset because I considered me a liability rather, because like in most things, you have to learn to be pretty good at it. So they probably could figure that I had the learning attitude and I was ready to put my head down and work. So yeah, I think. But as far as being an asset is concerned, I'm not sure what the workings of their mind. I think they figured that okay, he's ready to put in the work and he's driven. So
Okay.
that was something they could work with. And considering they've seen what I've done in the cybersecurity or in the IT space in my short time there, what I've done, what I'm looking to do. So I think that may have helped me at those times.